And were those the last ones?
Yes, those were the last ones.
Those are the last ones.
Yes.
So you have done a good percentage in terms of verification?
Yes, out of 291, those 27 were the last ones.
Out of 291, 27 were remaining?
Yes.
Okay, we'll get the percentage shortly, which is just above 10%, or thereabout.
Yes.
Now, on all the others, save for this 27, did anyone raise, especially the Commissioner Masit, raise any issue?
There was no issue raised by Commissioner Masit on any of the results that were announced.
In terms of the forms, the way the forms were filled, the validity of the forms, especially 34C, was there any challenge, any issues raised by Commissioner Irene Masit?
None whatsoever.
All right. Now, we go to where issues started. And we go to paragraph 58, which also appears in the petition by Reverend Tumbi, and also for Langat, paragraph 58. Is, at 55, you mentioned about attempts to subvert the will of the people as an introduction.
Yes.
You're there? And I would be happy to know why you headed it that way. Attempts to subvert the will of the people. And you are a very, very senior lawyer, senior to both myself and Donald, and here. And probably as a lawyer, it would be fair to ask, when you talk about subverting the will of the people, vis-a-vis what the Constitution expects of you. Kindly explain.
The Constitution of Kenya is very, very clear on what our system of elections through, democracy. And we, as a commission, were put in place to ensure that Kenyans then express their will, which is through the ballot, and that we then announce the winners of those particular elections. This then brings me to Article 81 of the Constitution, which is 81A, which is very clear. It requires that we remain independent and that the election conducted is transparent. We conduct it in a transparent, impartial, neutral, and efficient manner, which is also accountable. We are referees, and as a referee, then you expect that you do your work fairly to everyone. And so these activities, which were listed here, were then attempts to divert the Commission from what the Constitution expects of us.
Were they then attempts to breach or violate the Constitution?
Yes, definitely, because the Constitution expects of the Commission to be independent, treat all candidates fairly, be independent and transparent, and all those things that are listed in Article 81E. Now, anything short of that, then it negates what is expected. And we also have Article 249, which is also clear that we ought to do our work without, in accordance with the Constitution, and without interference from anyone. And also our oath of office is very, very clear. It reiterates all those things.
Right.
Yeah, so then whatever activities listed here are then diversions that would have made us be party to subverting the will of the people.
You've talked about your oath of office.
Yes.
And before we go to the circumstance, what exactly happened? What is expected of your oath of office as commissioners of Iebc?
First, we swear to uphold the Constitution and the laws, the relevant laws. And of course, it reiterates, it's in sync with Article 249, which says we only obey the Constitution and the law and not any individual authority. And that is then expounded by Article 81E as to then carries the issue of impartiality and independence.
What
But a
then
commission then, a chair and commissioners are expected to be impartial and independent, and the commission in general.
Then if
Yes.
that's the oath of office, what then if you commissioners of commissioners then support attempts to subvert the will of the people?
Then we would have simply acted against the constitution, and he should be held to account if one
Acted against the
goes
Constitution.
outside his oath of office.
It's gone outside oath of office.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I will jump at paragraph 57 because the people mentioned there are not here. I'll go to paragraph 58. Now, there was an incident at 3 a.m. on the 15th of August when you visited by some people mentioned there.
Yes.
3 a.m., had you slept or were you working through the day and through the night?
We were working 24/7. For the 5 days, I never went home to sleep.
You never went home?
Yes, I went home only to refresh and change and come back.
Okay.
Yeah, but we were working day and night, and most of the commissioners were also there. Maybe one or two to go rest and come, and it's so like we just had to work.
Now, you say that somebody contacted you that you had these guests.
Yes.
Kindly explain who contacted you, and you talk about several attempts. Kindly explain. Paragraph 58.
Yes, the auditorium and the holding room are adjoined, and we are also operating from the holding room, working from there. And then I got messages from members of staff, from my security detail, that this gentleman and commissioners, that this gentleman wanted to see me. And this was around that time. So then they came in. Actually, I didn't say yes, they should come in, but they came in just like that, uninvited. They just walked in.
And where you were in the boardroom, the office?
I was in the holding room.
Okay.
I had actually told my CEO I'll take a nap for 1 hour and wake me up around that time, but I was woken up by this gentleman instead.
So you are sleeping and some
yes,
gentlemen wake you up?
On my chair, yes.
Now, because one of the gentlemen will come in later in a meeting with you somewhere out of the NTC, that first person, who was he?
That is Honorable Raphael Tuju. He was at that point in time a cabinet secretary in the previous government, and he just he came there on behalf of the Azimio party.
And did Azimio have a presidential candidate?
Yes, it had a presidential candidate and also a chief agent.
They had a chief
who we had agreed that any issues which involves candidates should be raised by chief agents.
All right. So
Yes.
this is somebody from the Azimio camp. There was a senator also.
Yes, Senator Amos Wako, former Attorney General, was also in the group.
All right.
Among the three people.
Okay. Let me not mention my colleague. Now, these people, you are saying.
Excuse me. You can't choose whom to mention, whom not to mention. So if you
Okay,
mention,
very well. So choose the third person.
It's not me.
Very well. The third person.
The third person is Advocate Kialo Mbopu,
Yes.
who introduced himself as such. Yes.
Introduce himself as an advocate.
Yes.
Right. Now, you then say that the terms was to discuss tallying and results.
Yes.
How did you know that this is what they wanted to discuss?
They introduced the purpose of the visit, that they wanted to discuss about the tallying and the ongoing process, and I then told them if that's the case, then I'll ask the commissioners to join us in the meeting, because it's a matter then that would involve the whole commission.
Why didn't you discuss with them? They've found you, they've come to see you.
The election operation is not the chairperson's operation alone. It's the commission then that would make any decision as to matters that led to the entire election. So in all these matters that affect elections, I've always taken the liberty as chair to invite commissioners if there are issues to discuss. And this is what I adopted throughout the Boma's time and even before.
There must be a bigger reason why you didn't want to meet them alone.
3 a.m. in the morning and 3 gentlemen to discuss elections. I think that was reason enough.
That was reason enough.
Yes.
Right. And you then say that the commissioners joined you in paragraph 58, 59, and you talked because you're not operating a vacuum. I need you to say at what time did these others join you and where did they join you?
The commissioners were on the floor of the auditorium doing what they were doing, participating in the tallying and verification, and it just took a minute or two for them to come and join us.
So they joined you in the holding place?
Yes, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Was Commissioner Irene Masit one of them?
Yes.
So she was present?
Yes, she was present.
She was present in this meeting?
Yes, I'm sure.
Now, you then go on to explain in paragraph 59 and 56, and of concern is where you talk about moderation in paragraph 60. Yes. I need you to explain what was this request and what did they mean by saying moderation?
In 59, the first to speak was Senator Amos Wako, who said that as former Attorney General, remember elections were at some point managed in the Attorney General's office, and Attorney General's office was very, very powerful as regards the election. He said we should not operate in a vacuum. We should look at the bigger picture for the country, and as former election supervisor, then when you reach this kind of situation, you can moderate results and achieve stability of the country. Then we had also Honorable Tuchu spoke. He said that it was necessary that we moderate these results in favor of Baba, and that any contrary declaration of results would plunge the country into chaos.
Okay, so because these proceedings are recorded, when you say in favor of Baba, what do you mean?
I understood Baba to mean the Asmio presidential candidate, because that's what they call him.
Who was who?
Raila Odinga.
Raila Odinga.
Yes.
So the moderation was to be in favor of Raila Odinga.
Yes.
And you then flow to the issue of runoff in paragraph 60. Can you explain?
He said that in the alternative, if it was not possible to moderate the results in that manner, then we should ensure that there is a runoff.
How?
He didn't say how. I also don't know how that would be done.
Okay, what moderation? Did you know how it was to be done?
I had no idea how it would, because the elections reflect the will of the people, and as I said, from 34A is announced at the polling station and transmitted to the portal. So any form of moderation would not be possible.
So without sounding political, what you're saying is coming from bottom up, or from the polling station up to the National Tallying Center.
Yes, I believe if these gentlemen knew the transparent system we had put in place, perhaps they would not have made this visit, because at the end of the day, the results were already out there in the portal, so, and any attempt to change them would result into a lot of other problems.
Well, you've just said if these guys had known what we had set up. What do you mean?
I'm saying they were talking as if the thing of the old days when we didn't have transmission of results into the portal, where elections then were not that transparent. But the systems were put in place were such that these suggestions they were making would not be possible.
Did the constitution of this great republic envisage or permit a situation where you could moderate results in a presidential elections?
Absolutely.
Or change to permit a runoff?
Absolutely not. Not the 2010 constitution, and not even the previous constitution, if I remember.
Right. Now,
Yes.
as at 3 a.m. this time, had you gotten the final results after the verification of all?
We had not got the final result, but most of the verification and tallying had been done. But we had not got the final result.
So did you, as Wafula Chebukati, the chairman, know for a fact who was the winner as at this time?
I had not got the final figures, but we, of course, had the constituency results, but I did not know at this point in time who was the winner.
Right. Then, if we flow to paragraph 61, you say the advocate never made comment?
Yes, he did not say anything.
Did not say anything.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I've left out the point of being rewarded reasonably, but I'd rather go there. Let me read this statement, sir. After the talk of moderation, this is what you say. For this, he indicated that should his request be granted, it would be adequately rewarded. Who was this? And what was the reward?
This, the person who spoke these words was Raphael Tuju, and that's what he said. That we consider the request, then we shall be rewarded.
You shall be rewarded.
Yes.
Did he expound the reward?
Oh, we did not encourage him to expound the reward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Now, let me flow on the reward and we'll come back to paragraph 62. The last part, the third last line, and I want to read for you. You say you did not want him to expound, but this is what you say. As regard the incentive, and the emphasis is the word incentive, I was categorical that I'm adequately remunerated. And here the word emphasis is remunerated. And do not want anything from anyone. Do not want anything from anyone. Professor Gulie, Commissioner Molu, supported this view. The team left. Now, was Commissioner Irene Masit part of this meeting?
Yes, she was.
How come you did not mention her as supporting you? Or was she part of the incentive? And why did you use the word incentive and remuneration, sir?
Yeah, prior to that, just to put it in context, I invited the commissioners one by one to speak on the statements from those two gentlemen who had spoken, and I spoke last, and when I was responding to it is when I said these things about remuneration, which Commissioner Molo and Professor supported the view. So the others had already spoken. The other commissioners had already spoken.
Sorry to cut you. You know, reward could be by way of prayers for you and your family, could be by way of others. There must be a reason why you use the word remunerated.
Because those were the sentiments.
Those were the sentiments.
Yeah, that's what was expressed.
Monetary.
Yes.
Monetary.
Yeah.
Right, go on.
Yeah.
Just go on then.
So what I'm saying is all the commissioners had a chance to speak. As usual, I normally allow them to express their views in any meeting, and this was one of those meetings. So basically, the commissioner must sit alongside the other three, said that we should consider these statements from the two gentlemen very seriously.
Should consider
Yes.
the reward seriously.
Not the reward, the statements.
We are talking about the reward here.
About the reward, they did not say anything. The Commissioner Masi did not say anything about the reward.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was more about the request.
All right.
Yes.
But you see, you adopted this statement, this affidavit. This is an affidavit under oath.
Yes.
You are a very senior lawyer. You know the meaning of an affidavit under oath.
Yes.
You said you mentioned only two to have supported you. So the inference is the other way.
I think we need to read the whole paragraph in context. The support here from Commissioner Molo and Professor was more on the substantive issue which was raised as to whether we should moderate the results or not.
Right.
Not on the issue of reward.
So you
Yes.
had people who wanted to bribe technically the commissioners to subvert the will
Yes.
of the people.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
That is exactly what they left no doubt that was.
And you are aware,
Yes.
is that an offense under our penal code?
Not just Penal Code, even Election Offences Act.
Even Election Offences Act.
Yes.
And this, right, let me not go beyond. Let's go back to moderation. In respect to moderation and forcing a runoff, you then talked about giving the other people to have a chance to speak in paragraph 62.
Yes.
What was the position of Commissioner Irene Masit? Very specific on those two.
Yes. Commissioner Irene Masit with.
Just hold on.
Yes.
Okay, we proceed.
Yes.
Just. All right. In fact, I wanted after probably another 10, 15 minutes, we take a health break. Very well. Then we'll take a health break. Very well. Thank you very much, sir. Now, Mr. Chebukati, you know, some of us are over 50, myself and Donald here, so I think it will come shortly, the break. Now, moderation and the forcing of runoff.
Yes.
And I'm very particular on the position of Commissioner, because you say they all commented. You are in that meeting, right?
Yes.
You are in that meeting.
I chaired the meeting.
You had chaired the meeting.
Yeah.
Were the guests present?
Yes, they were.
The guests were present.
Yes.
And you then asked your commissioners to comment on what these guests have asked.
Yes.
And I'm trying to understand why this was done in the presence of the guests. Can you explain?
The guests had come with a request.
Yes.
And as a team, then they needed to be responded to. So I asked each commissioner then to make their comments on those requests.
Looking at them in the eye, what was the response of Commissioner Masit?
Okay, the way we are here, we of course, when you talk, I look at you. And Commissioner Masit agreed with the remarks of Senator Wako and Honorable Tuju.
So what was the remark of Senator Wako?
That we should moderate results.
Now, as a chair and as a very senior lawyer, did the Constitution of this great republic allow that?
Absolutely not.
What's your position then on that request?
I said that the will of the people must be respected, and we must live to the oath of our office. To me, that then were things that you don't expect, and that's why I said this then were attempts to subvert the will of the people.
So you're saying a commissioner wanted to subvert? That's what you're saying?
That's it. That's exactly what it is.
Right.
Yes.
In the other issue, what was the other request?
Force a runoff.
By who?
If the presidential candidate for Asmia doesn't win, then a runoff should be forced. That was Honorable Raphael Tuju.
What was the position of a very specific Commissioner Irene Masit on that request?
She said we should consider the remarks of both Senator Wako and the Honorable Raphael Tuju.
What do you mean, expound as a lawyer?
Consider means think of agreeing, think of a way of assisting.
Get of a way of assisting.
Yes, something like that.
Now, did the Constitution allow that?
Absolutely not.
So one of your commissioners was doing what?
Sorry?
So what you're saying, one of your commissioners was what? Was permitting, or agreeing with an attempt to subvert or breach the violate the Constitution on that runoff issue?
That's what it appeared to be.
All right. Now, then, at what point did you leave? Okay. Did the guest leave? People have made their comments.
Then we finished the meeting. We told them we shall do what the law requires us to do. That's what I told them, and then they left shortly after.
So the incentive never got to anyone?
No.
Did you know where the incentive was coming from?
Where?
The incentive was coming from.
It's Tuju who mentioned it, so I don't know where it was coming from, and I didn't care to know where it would be coming from.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes.
Now, we go to the next part, which starts with paragraph 63. You there, sir?
Yes, I'm there.
So these visitors left, their first group of visitors left around what time? Do you remember?
Maybe around 3:30 or thereabouts. The meeting was about half an hour or 45 minutes or something like that.
3:30 or thereabout?
Yeah, so I think that we took about 45 minutes for that meeting.
For that 45 minutes. Now, you've been woken up 45 minutes. After they left, was there a discussion as commissioners? Because you are in a position, you say two supported you not to violate the Constitution. The other took a different position. Visitors have gone. Did you have a meeting?
I think after they left, we all got back to our work stations. I had also been woken up, so I continued working. So we did not have further discussion on the matter, and I didn't then give it much thought, really, after they left.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you then, you are aware of the implication of putting these facts in an affidavit?
Yes, I was.
And you stick to these facts?
Yes, because that's the truth. That's what happened.
You stick to this fact that people wanted to you moderate?
Yes.
All right. Now, we go to paragraph 63. There's a new team of visitors. I need to explain how did you know about this visit, and just introduction on paragraph 63.
This was on the morning of 15th. I received a call around 9 a.m. from the head of public service then, Mr. Joseph Kinywa, that a team from National Security Advisory Committee will be coming to see me and requesting me to see them. And he said they will be talking briefly about assumption of office. Later on,
The purpose of the meeting from the call was assumption of office.
yeah, that's what Mr. Kinyua said.
Did you have any problem discussing assumption of office?
No, absolutely not. I mean, I didn't know how I come in, but they wanted to discuss it, and I said, it's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about whether there was an issue of assumption of office discussed. Then flow to paragraph 65 and the visit at paragraph 66.
Yes, so because of other duties we were undertaking, we said they need to wait. We managed to see them at 2 p.m. I and the commissioners met them at 2 p.m.
Where was the meeting?
The meeting took place at the CEO's office boardroom at the Bomas of Kenya, the CEO of Bomas of Kenya's boardroom.
Now, this meeting, was it attended by all commissioners? And to be specific, was Commissioner Irene Masit present?
Yes, Commissioner Irene Masit was present together with all the 5 others in this meeting.
In this meeting?
Yes.
Now, from my reading of paragraph 65 flowing to 66, it appears as though there was already an arranged, pre-planned meeting apart from the one of these visitors.
Yes, I had informed the commissioners that we should have a meeting at 2 to be briefed, or rather to look at the final results before declaration. And so we were meeting specifically to look at the results as stipulated in Form 34C, which we had asked the CEO to print and bring to the boardroom. So this was our meeting.
And in this meeting, prior to this meeting, had any of the commissioners seen Form 34C?
That Form 34C had not been printed, and none of us had seen it.
Had not been printed,
Yes.
and none of you had seen it.
Yes.
Had any of you known the final results as prior to this meeting?
The final tally had not been known, disclosed to us, but all the constituency results were out there.
So all constituency results were out there?
Yes.
You mean any
We had finished tallying and verification, and the commissioners had been announcing them, and all the results were there.
When you say they are out there, because these proceedings are recorded, I need clarity. What you mean when you say they're out there?
We mentioned the scenario of the auditorium where the tallying and verification was ongoing, and populating of Form C was happening, and so the results were there. After verification, all the constituency results were available.
In the portal or where?
No, with the commissioners, with the team, with the Iebc team.
With the Iebc team?
Yes.
Now, prior to this meeting, was there any problem amongst the commissioners?
No.
No.
Not that I'm aware of.
Any disagreements? Not at all?
No.
Right. So, you meet at 2 o'clock, and you are clear in paragraph 66, you wanted to declare a declaration, right? Then you, flowing to paragraph 67, you say then you decided to meet the commissioners. Kindly explain.
We decided to meet as a commission before declaration, so that we can look at the final result, which we were going to declare. But before that, we then said, since we have visitors, let's attend to them first.
Right.
Yes.
Are the visitors the one mentioned in paragraph 67?
Yes.
And you said they were coming on behalf of?
The National Security Advisory Committee.
Now, you then talk about introduction, composition, deliberate selection, and the magnitude of the message. Can kindly explain.
Yes, so the team leader, Mr. Kennedy Kihara, introduced the team of the four, introduced himself, and the participants, Mr. Kenneth Ogeto, Solicitor General, Mr. Hilary Mtiambai, Inspector General of Police, and Lieutenant General Francis Omondo Gola, the Vice Chief of the Defense Forces. That was the team. Yes. And he said this team has been carefully selected to come for this meeting. And he proceeded then to, after the introductions from all of us, he proceeded to deliver a message. He said they had a message for us.
Message from who?
From the NSAC, the National Security Advisory Committee.
Paragraph 69, flowing to 70, you talk about the message. Kindly explain.
Yes, the message was that if I declared the final election results in favor of Honorable William Samoei Ruto as president-elect, the country is going to burn. And he proceeded to tell us that the already skirmishes had started in the country. Kikuyus and Luos were already fighting. And he cited several slums, including Kibera and Mathare, on the basis of what he termed betrayal by the Kikuyus. So that was his message.
By the Kikuyus.
That was his message.
Right. Yes. Paragraph 70, he went on to caution.
He went on to caution that if we proceeded with the declaration of Honorable Ruto as president-elect and chaos erupt, then the blood of Kenyans, the blood of the dead Kenyans will be on our hands. And he said all of us, 7 of us, the commissioners and myself, will be held responsible.
Now, how did you take that message to mean to you and the commissioners?
Well, this then was obviously, this is a national security advisory team, the top organ of government. And a message of that nature then was outrightly a threat to the independence of the commission.
It's a threat to the independence of the commission?
Yes.
Yes.
That's how I took it. And
as at the time they
yes.
were speaking, had the final results verified been with you people?
We had not received the final Form 34C from the CEO. We were waiting for it. But as I said, these results were already out there. I remember we had a public portal where everybody interacted with, and people did their own tallying.
So people could have done their tallying and known
yes.
who is the winner?
Yes.
But you?
The official result from that 4C was not with us yet.
But as at that time, they are already telling you should not declare specific person.
Yes, yes.
All right. Now we flow to paragraph.
So that we don't spend too much time on this. You see, you've verified the results.
Yes.
And you're doing that as per the constituencies.
Yes.
And that you had verified all the results of the constituencies.
Yes, by the morning of 15th.
Yes.
Yes.
So, and it was being done by commissioners, by your staff.
Yes.
In the presence of agents.
Yes.
And all those who wanted to.
Yes.
So the results were known.
Absolutely.
To that extent.
Yeah. At least the constituency results were all
results.
Out. Yes.
And all that you needed to do was arithmetical.
There were two things that Form C, that 4C brings out. Other than the final results, it also, the system computes the number of counties a candidate has garnered, because that's important.
Yes.
And also the percentage. So that then is auto-generated by the system.
Yes.
So those then completes the Form 34C. Yeah, so that to declare a winner, you must know how many counties they have been garnered, because one needs 24 counties on the minimum to win a presidential election, and also the percentage.
No, what I'm asking is, a careful agent, okay? People who are interested in these results, and I'm sure all of those who are in the room were interested, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It was a matter of calculation.
Yes, with your calculator, you could have known the results even after 48 hours or the second or third day.
So fine, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Then you flow to paragraph 71. Then you talk of a request that was made appears similar by the earlier visitors. Kindly explain.
The paragraph 71.
Yes.
The second part of the message from the NSAC delegation was that if we cannot announce Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga as the outright winner, then we must ensure there is a runoff.
Now, was there any explanation how you would ensure there's a runoff?
None was given, and up to now, I wouldn't know if that can possibly be done. As I said, results were out there. So anybody attempting to manipulate them, it will not work.
Okay. Then you say they wanted something from you, 72.
Yes, he said now that he has delivered the message, he wants a message to take back or a response from the commission.
Right.
And so what I did is I asked the commissioners one by one what they think about that message.
Now, I need to be very specific. Commissioner Irene Masit. First of all, was this done in the presence of the visitors?
Yes.
So your commissioners gave their comments looking at the visitors in the eye?
Yes.
And what was the position of Commissioner Irene Masit?
Yes, so the Commissioner Masit, alongside the others, said this message requires serious consideration, and she supported the adoption of the communication from NSAC to be considered before taking a decision on the results to be announced.
Right. Consider before doing what?
Before taking a decision on the result as to the results to be announced.
So what does that mean?
I believe there's a preemptive action. If the results come in and they are going the way which is not anticipated by this team, then we should consider them and look for a way of doing what the request was.
So, did the law or the constitution of this great republic allow what your fellow commissioner was supporting?
In fact, it's quite to the contrary.
What do you mean?
The constitution was set up to ensure that this kind of things don't happen. Remember, the commission is independent and it's about the will of the people. That's what we exist to protect.
Without going to legal maxims that we don't like, is that the commissioner wanted subversion of the will?
Well, from the expression of what they said and saying we should consider NSAC message, that is exactly subversion of the will of the people.
Subversion of the will of the people.
Yes.
Then what happened?
The NSAC team left, and the CEO then, Mr. Marijan, brought in the Form 34C.
Oh, very well.
Yes.
We can stop there.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. We take 15-20 minutes break, then we resume.
Thank you very much.
All right, very well. Well, Kenyans were eagerly waiting for that. That has been the outgoing IEBC chair, Wafula Chebukati. They are having his day with Aggrey Muchelule, led tribunal investigating the 4 commissioners and Irene Masit being the only commissioner standing. Well, the work is clearly cut out. We've been able to, with my panelists here, we've been able to pick out 2 or 3 issues that they have been able to talk about. With the IEBC chair talking about there was claims of moderation, forcing a runoff, the National Security Council, they're cautioning the IEBC in regards to that, saying that if President William Ruto was declared the president, then there will be chaos. And it's something that he said was interfering with the independence of the commission. Just 30 seconds each, gentlemen, as we wrap it up. What has been your take home in regards to what Chebukati has talked about? He was talking about his affidavit, which he wrote, signed, and swore.
Well, I think that it's important for the public just to get to know what happened, because I think there's Kenyans are really interested in knowing what really happened during the 2022 general election. So even as a new commission comes in, it's significant for the people to get to know, and maybe as the chairman continues to be cross-examined, and we might get to know deeper for the best interest of the democracy of Kenyans. Yeah.
Bevan?
As we head into the future, especially on matters election, I think it's good that the Kenyans know exactly what happened, what may have transpired in between all the arms of government. And I believe once someone has sworn an affidavit is going to be true to the affidavit. I believe this is going to assist the incoming commission to also know where to pick it up for the sake of the future of this country's elections.
Torstad?
I think all the people that have testified for the commission, like Wafula Chebukati, Boya Molu, and Professor Abdi Gulie, all have converged at one point that by the time the NSAC visited them, and by the time commissioners were asking for change of the results and moderation of the same, so to say, they didn't have the official results, and they have also hinted that the people that wanted that probably knew the results even before the commission knows the results. So that puts us in a very interesting position as citizens, because we now have to indict the IEBC for managing an election to whom third parties know the results even before IEBC can know the results. So then clearly it means our electoral system has a problem, and that problem must be fixed. If we're going to head to 2027 with the same issues, then it's going to be very difficult to convince someone that your vote really matters. And then another thing to look at is we want to really understand who actually was culpable for what in the whole fiasco that happened after the election of 2022. There are so many dark areas, there are so many secrets we've not been told, and we want them to be put on the table. There is, the president also said the other day that there was a plan to kill Wafula Chebukati, who is the chair of the IEBC Commission, and we are asking if the president has such information, which is very crucial, then that such information should be shared with the courts, and that matter is followed to the conclusion, so that we see who is this that wanted to kill Wafula Chebukati, and what is the future of other commissioners and chairpersons of this commission if that issue of near death comes into question, and remembering the death of Musando, who was also in charge of ICT. So if we are building up on that environment of terror within the IEBC, then it's now time to relook into that, to open up the question wider, to form a commission of inquiry and exhaust all the mechanisms that will bring to justice maybe even those who are involved in the whole thing. So it's not about Irene Masit alone. It's not about the few commissioners that have testified, but we want an entire cleanup of that system and the whole of the IEBC. We want the people who are in charge of transmission to say what they know. We want the people who are in charge of security within the IEBC precincts to say what they know, so that we have peace with this body.
Indeed, and well said. Actually, if you ask me, more questions. A lot of questions have been asked, and those questions are still begging for more questions. Well, if you ask me, I was expecting for a more comprehensive report in regards to what the chairman of Iebc has talked about in regards to what transpired during the 2022 August presidential race, and specifically what transpired on the 15th of August, the day that we were all eagerly awaiting for the announcement of the results. Well, we are waiting for those questions, and we are still waiting for the tribunal to conclude its investigations and come up with a solution and an answer for Kenyans as to what exactly transpired in the 2022 general polls. Of course, this is a matter that we will continue to look in depth. In our subsequent bulletin, we will be, Gladys Mongai is actually keeping a keen eye on the tribunal, and also we will be having live discussion in studio to try and put things into perspective. Unfortunately, that's all time we had on News Check. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Ben Troy Njoe, and I was in the company of Dr. Churchill Saoke, a policy and governance expert and also a lecturer at the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. And we also had Bevon Magare, who is a public policy and risk management expert and also governance and leadership expert, Tolstan Alenga. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for indeed coming and for the time.
Thank you.
We had quite a discussion during the interviews, and thank you so much indeed for your insight. Unfortunately, that's all the time we had. Now we are giving the baton to the Swahili desk with Kurunzi Mashinani and Tamrini. Do have yourself a blessed afternoon.
I know you're worried about him. Boys and their dads. Did I say something wrong?
Well, tell me how you really feel.
You know what matters? Ni ati umerudi kazi. Na kama kuna mtu anaweza kulainisha hii kampuni ni wewe.
Ambia mama hivyo.
Hiyo ni ukweli. She would do a perfect job.
Kisima drops will have to go on, even without our dear Melissa. So, please join me in welcoming our latest addition to the company, my daughter Zawadi.
Yo, what up, my people? Costa Ojuang, the fisherman, vibing live at Grapevine, KBC Channel 1.
Costa Ojuang, the legendary in the making, right here on Grapevine, baby.
Omwana inyanya, omwana indumbu, omwana mavere, wewe.
How do I know about the two of you?
This is Jenny Lee from the logistics department. This is me. It's who you're talking to.
Make a wish.
A wish?
Have you forgotten this too?
An overachiever that won many awards. Whenever she walked down the street, people would pay attention. She was somebody that was really special.
It's about Harvey? What is it then?
I want to check if the fence is indeed marking my land or if it was moved.
Let's go, boss, let's go!
You still owe me, Juanita Saba. And this debt will only be paid out with your death.
Aha. What are you two doing here?
This is a very old car, but this is faithful.
Hey, truck! Watch out, truck!
Here I am, Oligario. Why don't you face me instead of stabbing me in the back?
I know you're worried about him. Boys and their dads. Did I say something wrong?
Well, tell me how you really feel. You know what matters? Ni ati umerudi kazi. Na kama kuna mtu anaweza kulainisha hii kampuni ni wewe.
Ambia mama hivyo. Hiyo ni ukweli. She would do a perfect job.
Kisima drops will have to go on, even without our dear Melissa. So, please join me in welcoming our latest addition to the company, my daughter Zawadi.
I want to check if the fence is indeed marking my land or if it was moved.
Let's go, boss! Let's go!
You still owe me, Juanita Saba. And this debt will only be paid out with your death.
Aha. What are you two doing here?
This is a very old car, but this is faithful.
Hey, truck! Watch out, truck!
Here I am, Oligario. Why don't you face me instead of stabbing me in the back?
What up, my people? Costa Ojuang, the fisherman, vibing live at Grapevine, KBC Channel 1.
Costa Ojuang, the legendary in the making, right here on Grapevine, baby.
Omana inyanya, omana indumbu, omana mavere, wewe.
Na mtazamaji, leo hii ni siku ya Jumanne, tarehe ikiwa ni 24 mwezi Januari mwaka 2023. Ni siku ambayo aliyekuwa mwenyekiti wa tume ya Iebc Wafula Chebukati alifika mbele ya jopo linalochunguza wale makamishna ama waliokuwa makamishna wa Iebc, na hivyo basi ametoa ushahidi wake, na tunatarajia kwamba kikao hicho kitakuwa kinaendelea hapo baadaye, na tutakuwa tunakupasha hayo yote hapa kwenye KBC Channel 1. Lakini kwa sasa hivi, karibu sana, kipindi ni Kurunzi Mashinani, tukupashe baadhi ya taarifa ambazo tumekuandalia. Jina langu ni Nancy Okware. Tunaanza na taarifa kutoka katika kaunti ya Kiambu, ambapo wakazi wa eneo la Githunguri wamelalamikia kuhusu ongezeko la ajali za barabarani kwenye barabara kuu ya Ruiru kuelekea Nyambari. Hii ni baada ya watu 5 wakiwemo wanafunzi 3 kufariki baada ya kugongwa na magari katika kipindi kisichozidi mwezi mmoja. Wakazi hao wameitaka halmashauri ya ujenzi wa barabara kuu kuweka matuta karibu na masoko ili kupunguza ajali.
Kwa Moiko tuko na shida, hakuna bump, hakuna parking. Ndio sana hii ajali kama hiyo imetokea saa hii, inaonekana juu hakuna parking. Mtu wa Duthi amepark kwa barabara juu hakuna parking.
Haina mataa ya town, na kusema ukweli hii barabara ilileta magari mingi kwa hii town, na ikakuwa magari inakibia kwa mwendo ya zaidi, speed imekuwa juu.
Kuna miguu, kuna bodaboda na gari. Tunataka tukiomba serikali yetu ituweke bump ndio hii visa iwe ipungue.
Mwekezaji mmoja amejenga kituo cha barafu cha kutayarisha maziwa katika eneo la Kibingoti, kaunti ya Kirinyaga, na kuwapa wakulima soko tayari la maziwa pamoja na kuwapunguzia hasara inayotokana na kuharibika kwa bidhaa hiyo. Mwenyekiti wa chama cha wafugaji Mutahi amesema chama hicho pia kitajenga ghala katika eneo hilo ambalo litasambaza bidhaa za maziwa na vyakula vya mifugo.
1, 2, 3.
This is going to it's an eye opener to people from Kirinyaga. And I said, you're not going to be new in this area. They are reading. Now need correction. Kirinyaga could be second from Kuwait. We could be correcting about 60,000 liters in Kuwait, but around this area we will be correcting around 20,000 liters of milk. So when we come closer to you people, and we engage, like I said, the veterinary people, and we engage the extension services people, veterinary, they will now persuade them to keep good animals.
Kaunti ya Kisumu kwa ushirikiano na wakfu wa matibabu ya saratani barani Afrika ni miongoni mwa wadau waliozindua kampeni ya uhamasisho na udhibiti wa saratani ya kizazi. Mpango huo unatarajiwa ya kwamba kampeni hiyo inatarajiwa kumaliza visa vya saratani ya kizazi humu nchini itakapofika mwaka wa 2030.
Serve your people with dedication.
Akizindua kampeni hiyo, mkewe gavana wa kaunti ya Kisumu Dorothy Nyong'o alihimiza uchunguzi wa mara kwa mara wa kimatibabu ili kubaini mapema na kutibu saratani ya kizazi, akisema mbinu hiyo ndiyo bora zaidi ya kukabiliana na jinamizi la kansa humu nchini ifikapo mwaka 2030.
Today we are at Jaramogi Hospital distributing medical scrubs to the health workers to acknowledge them for the amazing work that they've been doing, but also to give them the responsibility of becoming ambassadors for cervical cancer. We want them to talk about screening, to encourage mothers to take their daughters for HPV vaccine.
Kampeni hiyo itazinduliwa katika kaunti nyingine 14 zilizoko eneo la Ziwa Victoria kwa lengo la kuwahimiza wanawake zaidi kujitokeza kufanyiwa uchunguzi na kupewa tiba.
The idea is to get cervical cancer detected early so that it can be treated. We are on the road to eliminate cervical cancer by the year 2030. as per the call from WHO.
The drive that we have is actually a drive about life and making sure that our people can live longer, and then you don't die prematurely. For you to live longer, it means you must deal with things that will make you die early. And so things that we want to do are, one, we want to make sure that all our girls between 10 to 14 years have gotten the HPV vaccine. Now, the HPV vaccine is given free of charge in all public facilities in this country. If we target to have 90% of them screened by the year 2030, then we'll be talking about our way towards elimination of cervical cancer on the ground.
Aidha, matabibu kutoka eneo hilo la Ziwa Victoria walikabidhiwa vifaa vya matibabu vya kuwawezesha kutoa huduma zao barabara. Kampeni hiyo imetokana na juhudi za pamoja za kaunti zote za eneo la Ziwa Victoria, wakfu wa matibabu pamoja na wakfu wa matibabu ya saratani barani Afrika. Wycliffe Okech, Kurunzi Mashinani.
Wakazi wa mji wa Kiambu wametoa wito kwa viongozi wa eneo hilo kumnusuru mwanamume aliyetelekezwa. Mzee huyo anadaiwa kuachwa pweke kwenye barabara za mji huo punde baada ya kupokea matibabu katika hospitali ya Kiambu Level 5.
Kwa takriban miezi mitano mzee huyo amekuwa akiishi kwenye barabara hii mjini Kiambu. Joseph Mureithi anadai mahitaji ya kimsingi kama vile chakula, makazi, nguo na matibabu yamekuwa kama ndoto tu.
Nikungojea usaidizi kokote, nimetumana huko. Wakija basi twende. Wote. Hakuna hata mmoja. Si wazazi tu, hata wakijana wale walikuwa nyuma yangu wamekufa wote. Yaani tuseme nyumba yetu hakuna mtu, ni mimi peke yangu.
Mureithi anadai alitoka kaunti ya Taita Taveta miezi michache iliyopita na akalazwa kwenye hospitali ya Kiambu Level 5. Hata hivyo, baada ya kuruhusiwa kwenda nyumbani, Mureithi hakuwa na pa kwenda.
Kuwa nafanya kazi Taita Taveta district hii ilipewa district wakati wa utawala wa Kibaki. Lakini kuna shamba ya makonge ile imemalizwa pia ni Kibaki wakati anatawala. Huko ndio nilikuwa nafanya kazi, lakini mwisho nikapata ugonjwa na ni Taveta Taita. Huko ndiko nilikuwa nalala hospitali. Waliponipa ndio walinileta huko. Waliponipa ruhusa karibu madaktari wawili wakanileta hapa.
Wakazi wa Kiambu sasa wanawahimiza viongozi kuchukua hatua na kumnusuru mzee huyu kutokana na hatari ya magonjwa au kushambuliwa.
Kuna hiyo moyo wa mtu, shughulikieni huyu mzee, kwa sababu akikufa akufie mahali saizi amelala. Laana ni kwa nyinyi watu wa serikali, laana ni kwa Kimani wa Matangi, MP, the MC of this area, chiefs. Chief wa hii area anapitia hapa na anaona huyu mzee hapa, anampita tu anamuigino.
Anakaa hapa, anasema ajui watu wao wako wapi. Na mahali alikuwa anaishi kulijengwa manyumba ambayo hata hawezi kuvuka ni wapi. Anaishi maisha baya kwa sababu hapa ni mtu ambao anaweza pita amnunulia kachai, amnunulia kadazi, hiyo ndio maisha yake. Lakini sasa wakati sasa ukikuta